This meeting is being recorded.
Wow. Did you hear that? I don't know if you did, but it was Zoom telling me this meeting's being recorded because we do all these interviews over Zoom. But as COVID ends, maybe we'll do some live ones. This is Eddie F. talking to you, and I'm live from my kitchen. That's where I am. I'm in my kitchen in Alabama. If you're wondering where that is, good. It's a secret location. I have a mountain lair up in the hillbilly hills of Southern California, the CrossFit capital of the world. No, I don't know why I even said that. Lots of stuff going on in the CrossFit games. I'm not really paying attention. Not going to lie to you. I find it hard to pay attention to the games this year. The format, to me, is a little weird. It's a little weird with all the, it's different every year with the regionals and the games and all these other things. Like, I love it. Can't wait to watch the games in Madison this year. Lots of up-and-coming guys. I like this guy out of South Carolina who's took over the Mid-Atlantic CrossFit Championships. I don't know. There's always a new name of these things, new guys all the time. That's why I have Armen Hammer on the show today. Armen makes some predictions. Armen knows the games better than I do. Me, I'm into this for the health, the fitness, the nutrition, the whole gamut of it. If you like that kind of stuff, you want funny, interesting conversation about that. I take people that are stars in these worlds and try to get to find out a little bit behind them and what they are like as a personality. If you want to know their training programs extensively, go to their programming. Go to their sites. People get mad at me that I don't interview enough and I don't ask enough technical questions. It's not what I do. I'm a personality person. That's what I'm looking for here. So I try to bring out personalities out of these people. That and some other stuff. Anyway, if you want to review and bitch about me, go to iTunes. You can bitch or you can give me a 5-star review because you like the show. Helps us always. If you want to help us in other ways, you can go to Patreon. We have a Patreon. Patreon.com/WODcast or WODcastPodcast.com/Patreon. You go to those. You give $5 a month. You get a new episode every time. You get a 5th episode. Like some people get 4, you get 5. You get an extra episode every month. I don't know if I uploaded the Chris Cote one, but I will if I did not right after the. Chris Cote is an ESPN commentator, really interesting, funny guy, pro skater, pro surfer. I've got some other interesting interviews coming up. I flubbed one. The other night, I had it scheduled. I was supposed to get up at I wasn't supposed to get up. I was coming home from a show because I'm back doing shows again. But I was supposed to, at midnight, call this guy in India. He's the youngest guy to ever climb Mount Everest, and that was going to be the next Patreon. I stayed out. I totally forgot to call him. Hopefully, he lets me reschedule. Hopefully, he's a very busy dude. He's 26 years old. When he was 16 years old, he climbed Mount Everest. There's something in there. Got to talk to a guy like that. Got to find out how at 16 years old. I climbed Saddle Peak the other day. It was 2,500 feet. I did it in the dark. Went left at 8 o'clock. It was pitch black. Did it with a bunch of buddies. That was hard. 2,500 feet. This guy climbed 30,000 feet at altitude when he was 16. What kind of mental fortitude does it take to do that? That's what I want to find out about. What's going on in this kid's brain? So, again, the games coming up, all kinds of cool stuff. I've got lots of great guests coming up. Lots and lots and lots. I'm headed to the East Coast next week, so I'll be doing this out of North Carolina. Maybe get some Travis Mayer. Want to talk to Travis Mayer. There's a reason I want to talk to him. Maybe some of you CrossFitters know. Next week, I have possibly the best interview I'm ever going to do. Eric Rosa, scheduled to interview him. So look out for all these new upcoming episodes. Really, really, really fun guests all the time. I don't think there's anybody who's been doing it as long as me, as many as me, and had as many good guests as I have. So I'm going to a little pat on my back right there. What else? Patreon. Like I said, you get an extra episode. You also can get a Myopux and a Leopard Claw. I am pretty sure we are all caught up. If you have not received your Myopux or your Leopard Claw, please send me an email at WODcastPodcast@yahoo.com. Tell me, you are a piece of shit, Eddie. I have not received my Leopard Claw or my Myopux. I will make sure you get that, okay? Troy over there at Myopux and Leopard Claw does an amazing job. He has kept everyone I know healthy. I take care of my friends, my family. I am the electronic muscle stimulator guy. Every time someone's hurt, I'm like, I got it. Let me hook you up. And I put on the electronic muscle stimulator so that they don't re-injure the tissue. Re-injure their tissue and get that blood flowing. I also get that Leopard Claw. I keep the Leopard Claw in my bag. I take it everywhere. It's so portable, and that's a good way to mash up any of the fascia. If you've ever heard mashing, this is kind of scraping. You're going to scrape the fascia, any adhesions in the fascia to get the blood flowing. I use it all the time. Elbows, forearms, calves, ankles, down by the Achilles. Great stuff. Quads. I've done my quads with it. Get yourself one. So you donate to the Patreon, there's a good chance you'll win one. It's $450 worth of stuff. All you do is give $5 a month. Come on. We're taking really good care of you. You can take care of the show. You've been listening long enough. You're that guy out there. You know what I'm talking about. You've listened to every episode. You've never donated $1. Come on, you can do it. Dates. I'm looking at my schedule right now. I am performing. I'm going to go down really quickly the cities that I will be in on my 2021 fall tour. Okay? Here we go. Ventura, Kansas City, Atlanta, San Jose, Las Vegas, San Diego, Plano, Texas, Wilmington, North Carolina, Naples, Florida, Key West, Florida, Edmonton, Canada, Reno, Nevada, Vancouver, British Columbia, Anchorage, Alaska, Scottsdale, Arizona, and then Sun Valley, Idaho. Got that? If you're any one of those, we're going to pre-sale tickets and then regular sale. You want to get the pre-sale. They're cheaper in pre-sale. So get your tickets. I'm going to be launching that pretty soon. The next couple weeks, tickets will be available for that entire tour. So you're going to want to get these tickets because I am going to sell out. I'm going to sell out this whole show. And then hopefully Australia is going to let me come in and we're going to do the whole Australian tour. So if you're a CrossFitter, come out, tell me, hey, I'm going to get my gym. You want a special deal. I will. If you want to bring as a special event for your CrossFit gym, if you're in one of those cities that I mentioned, Ventura, Kansas City, Atlanta, San Jose, Plano, San Diego, Las Vegas, Wilmington, Key West, Naples, Edmonton, Reno, Vancouver, Anchorage, Scottsdale. If you're in one of those cities, contact me. I will give you the deepest, best discount ever on a group of tickets. If you're like, hey, I want to bring my gym by. I'm a gym owner. I'm a club owner or whatever, a gym owner or box owner or whatever you call it. And I want to bring my whole gym out to your show. Let me know. I'll hook you up. All right. And let's see what else I mentioned. Who's coming? I do have some ads because we do have possibly the best sponsors here at the WODcast Podcast. The one that I have been raving about, I made everybody drink one of these before we went up our 5-mile hike up 2,500 feet. I had them all have a C4 energy drink. That's right. I said, you drink your C4 energy drink and you're going to get some energy to go up this hill. It's an amazing stuff. I was talking to my wife about it the other day, and I said, look, Matt Fraser went on Rogan, talked about beta-alanine, and he was like, yeah, I use beta-alanine. Makes me feel like I have a third lung. Nobody could get beta-alanine. I know where you can get it. It's in C4 energy drink. You're like, what's beta-alanine? Well, it's they they have their own trademarked version, carnosine, beta-alanine, beta powder. And that's pretty much what's in C4 Energy. There's a couple other ingredients I'll tell you about. And it gives you this boost. It's clinically proven to give you a boost of energy. And here's the best part. They got 10 different flavors, 0 sugar, 0 sodium, 0 carbs, 0 calories. So it's purely an energy drink, but it's healthy. It's not like that other crap that you see that claims to be energy. I'm not going to name the names, but we all know who I'm talking about. This is naturally flavored, no artificial colors. And it is clinically studied to... it's got premium ingredients that support muscular endurance, hydration, and physical performance. So I don't think you can go wrong here. It's got caffeine in it. 16 ounce has 200 milligrams of caffeine. 12 ounce has 150 milligrams of caffeine. Like I said, it's got the carnosine, beta-alanine. It's also got citrulline malate, which supports an increase in nitric oxide levels. If you know anything about breathing and nasal breathing, that's how you get your nitric oxide. It's got the beta power, betanine, naturally derived from beets. Beta power, betanine helps to support hydration, better physical performance. It's just great, great stuff. And if you want to get a hold of some, we're going to give you 20% off. You got to go 20% off. That's what you want. So don't settle for any energy drink. In fact, don't even settle for any sugar-free energy drink. C4 lineup is the family that elevates your energy with clinically studied performance ingredients. Great flavors like cherry limeade, orange slice. There's so many good flavors. 20% discount. Go to C, the letter C, 4energy.com. Use the code WODcast. That's C4energy.com. Use the code WODcast. All right? And now, let's get to the show and talk to my old partner, my friend, future father, CrossFit know-it-all, new resident, again, of California, Armen the Hammer. Izzy wants a horse. She just said, I have a chick, I have a puppy, and 3 dogs. She has 2 dogs. A chick and a puppy. And she wants a horse. No. She goes over to our neighbors, all have horses, and she goes over and cleans up the horse poop and saddles them and brushes them. And I don't think she's ready to ride them yet.
That's part of the job of owning a horse. So she's just getting ready for the day that you break.
Yeah. I always said when I was younger, I was like, I want horses someday. I'd love to have a ranch with. Then I moved around people with horses, and I went, I never want a horse. Never, ever, ever, ever. A neighbor's out of town, and I'm helping with the horses right now. And I have to haul these garbage bins full of horse manure up this hill to the street so that the garbage trucks can come pick them up. There's nothing that weighs more than horse manure. How hay can go from being like light, fluffy hay into a lead weight, I have no idea. I actually chain it to the back of a truck and drive up the hill with the garbage cans chained to the back of the truck. Because
like house-sized garbage cans, like the ones you put your garbage out in?
Yep.
And then a normal truck comes by and picks them up?
I think there's a special...
Because I was about to say that's pretty gross if they're combining the manure with the recyclables or something.
It's awful. Yeah, like all our plastics and everything, all paper. It's all full of you have a horse balanced on the bill of your. Yeah. I'm okay with that. I'll do it the whole show. I'm losing my mind here. Welcome. Wait till you see. One kid's nothing, Armen. Scott used to say it to me. One kid's nothing. Wait till you have 2. 2 changes your life. And congratulations, by the way, on having a child. I don't want to belittle that. That's an amazing accomplishment, and it's you enter into a new world. You'll see that. See what I mean? Yeah, the first one's awesome.
I also saw your tweet about Cruz walking into your living room and hosing everything down.
I heard this weird sound. Let me preface it by saying I bought a new gun for the end of the hose, and I just bought one randomly off of Amazon. I put it on, and I was like, it had like 18 functions. There's spray, there's mist, there's the
drip,
and one of them
waterfall.
is jet, and jet shoots like a bullet, and it can shoot so far.
And guess what? My brother shoot my dad in the face with the bullet.
In the
right
face?
And
Right.
my dad shoot it right back in his face.
All right, go eat your In-N-Out. So I hear this noise. I'm sitting on the couch. I should have been paying attention to him, but I was like, I had to check an email or something, and I hear this. And it was him dragging the hose into the house. I just hear. And I was like kind of too lazy to get up, my fault. But after long enough, I'm like, something good is not happening. And I turn around, and he's not spraying it yet. He's 2, and he looks at me with like such comedic timing and just gives me that like glimmer in his eye. as I'm like, no, like don't shoot. And he just goes, and I mean, he just starts like, he goes at me. He goes at the couch. He goes at the shelves with the books. He goes at the walls. And I'm going, no. And I go running at him to stop. And he stands his ground and just aims right at my face. And just shoots me right in the face. And, like, I've read a lot of parenting books. And, I try really hard to be a good parent. And I try never, ever to get physical or to teach him when things are wrong or blah, 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 do the right thing. I just grabbed the hose from him, turned around and sprayed him. And I was just like a giant, like, how dare you, like, psh! And then he cried and I was like, and I felt badly. But I was like, he knew what he was doing. He knew exactly what he was doing. And then he helped me clean up.
I mean, that's like classic toddler, right? The whole thing about toddlers is they push like every boundary and every possible button they can find.
Well, see, Izzy didn't. Izzy was, the horse fell off. Izzy was a really good kid and didn't do things like that. Cruz is mini me. Like when I see him doing things like that, I'm like, oh, that's exactly what I would have done. I don't know if I would have done it to my parents. I would have done that to a friend for sure. And I see it. I might have done it to my parents.
How old is Izzy now?
Izzy's 6.
Oh, wow.
When I was, and she's not supposed to be here. Where did I tell you to go? You're supposed to be in your room or in my room, right?
Well, I'm not finished with my burger yet.
I just got her in and out. When I was like 12 or 13, we were down at the beach with my family, and my grandparents were staying with us. My grandfather was a stickler about cleanliness. He was a pharmacist, and he had almost had OCD. Everything had to be perfect, and everything was clean. And one day I was at the park across the street from our house, and it had a duck pond. And I don't know why, but I decided to lead the ducks from the park.
Like Pied Piper style?
Yep, with breadcrumbs across, like literally pulling bread off of like white bread, just right up.
You have like a loaf, yeah.
Yeah, and just took, I don't know, it must have been maybe like 5 or 6 ducks, took them across the street, lured them into our house, and once I got them in the house, I closed the doors. And I don't know what I was thinking to this day. But as soon as the ducks were great. They followed me everywhere until I closed the doors. And the second I closed the doors, they went berserk. And they started like making crazy noises that I've never heard ducks make. They are flapping their wings, trying to escape, and defecating everywhere. I mean, everywhere over the house. I mean, knocking lamps over. It was complete chaos. And my grandfather came down, saw what was happening, went up, packed his bags, and left.
No.
Swear to God. He and my grandmother just got their bags, got in their car and drove from Avalon, New Jersey, back to Pittsburgh, a 6-hour drive. He just left. And it was like when I saw my kid hosing down my house, I was like, oh, that's like me. But I was 13. He's 2. So I'm thinking about institutionalizing him right now.
There's got to be what they used to send kids off to, what is it, like military school, like boarding schools.
Oh, did I ever tell you my military school story?
I feel like you mentioned it maybe once. I don't remember.
Well, I got kicked out of 8th grade. I think it was 8th grade. You know, you do parent teacher.
That's right around what, 12 years old? So
yeah, I had to do 8th grade twice. I got kicked out of Catholic school for supposedly. Hey, Izzy, can you go in your room, please? And I'll let you watch Netflix. You can watch your show. Close the door.
It's not a 6-year-old friendly story.
No, not at all. So I ripped a wig off a nun, and I didn't.
Come on, man.
I didn't really do it. I got blamed for it. I was involved in it. There was a kid named Mark Drischler that did it, but we had planned it all together. We had this nun that wore a wig. She was like bald underneath, and she was really mean. She was an evil, evil woman. She had it coming, and we said the last day of school we were gonna take off her wig. So we did. Ran down the steps, you know, like with it. The goal was going to be to hang it up the flagpole, but we didn't do that. And I'm not sure, but I think Mark was kind of like an orphan. He didn't really get in trouble for it, and I got in a lot of trouble. And I remember they called my parents and everything. They went to meet my parents, and they basically said, we don't think he's mature enough to go on to high school. So my parents sent me to another year of 8th grade. Well, that year I was like, I'm not doing shit. I've already done it. You know, like I've been through this. And my mom said that like I didn't bring a book home ever. Like I was failing every class because it was like, I've done this. Like school to me was just like, it was a social experience. I was like, oh, I'm going to hang out with my friends all day. And sometimes they go to class and I have to find other friends. like I've done this. So when I got kicked out in the middle of it, they do parent teacher conferences where the kids go and meet with the parents. The parents go and meet. They go room to room to room and meet with each teacher. My parents go, we got called in and we go in this room like an auditorium and every teacher's there. They go, the janitors were there. The lunch ladies were there, and everyone was complaining about you. Like everyone was like, this kid's a monster. And they were like, we don't want him back. So they basically said, he can't come back. We just won't have him. And it was a public school. And it was like, you have to take him. And they're like, no, we don't. He's not allowed back in the school. So my dad told me, he came home, my mom was crying. They're like, all right. So my dad's like, we're going to send you to military school. So I was like, what? So Valley Forge Military School, which is where they filmed Taps, they would recruit, and they sent a recruiter to this hotel, and I had to go visit the hotel and take a test, an entrance exam. And I remember just going, I am not going to military school. There's no way I'm doing this. So I took the exam, and I purposely tried to get every single question wrong. And I'm like, they're gonna not let me in. So my dad said to me afterwards, he said, I talked to the whatever, I don't know what they call themselves, captain or whatever their fake name is, because military school is like, what are you? But the guy was like, either your son is really smart or he's the biggest idiot we've ever tested, because he goes, but I think he knows what he was doing. And, he tried to get them all
it's
wrong.
Like when you get a 0% on the test.
Yeah, no, I think I got a few right because I wasn't that smart. And my dad goes, I go, oh, so I guess I can't go. What'd they say? And my dad goes, they said they can't wait to have you. Like they're just looking forward to you. And I had seen the movie Taps, and I'm like, I'm not going to go do that. Like, it's just not happening. So I told my dad, I go, you can send me, but the first chance I get to go AWOL, like jump the fence, I'm gone, and you're never going to see me again. And I was like 13 telling him this. I'm like, you'll never see me again. I will run away. And so I think I really, scared my parents a little bit. And so they ended up having to take me to a psychologist. And the psychologist, like, they wouldn't let me back into school till they had me tested and found out, like, why is this kid such an asshole? And I'm worried that my son got it, like it's genetic. Because, like, I handed him a glass of coconut water yesterday, just like a little cup. He usually drinks out of a sippy cup. He took a sip, looked at me, and just threw it on the ground. I don't know where it comes from at this age, but I'm in full panic mode. We were over on my.
You're basically saying, like, you sowed a whole bunch of, like, potentially bad karma.
Yeah,
a little bit of a shithead when you're a kid.
Yeah, but it's not nurture. It's nature, because we're like gentle, and he doesn't see violence or anything. The other day we're on my friend's half pipe, and all the little kids are playing. And there's one kid just sitting on the half pipe in the middle of it. I watch my son walk up behind him, kid the same age, and I see him raise both hands in the air, slam them down on the kid's head like an ear crusher, and then just grab hair and go, yeah, and just pull up. And everyone screamed, like the whole place, like it was like a party.
Horrifying.
Yeah, and everyone's like, oh my God. And I go running across to, like, stop him. And I'm like, Cruz. And he just, like, kind of looks at me like, what are you going to do? And like he's holding hostage. He's like, I'm not letting go. And I don't know. And people were like, oh, he's only 2. That's what they do. No, this kid's.
How are you going to get him into, or are you going to disclose any of this once you put him into, like, kindergarten or pre-K? You're going to be like, he's fine. He's potty trained.
Well, no, that's the thing. Listen. He's at school right now. He goes to this little daycare thing to socialize. We'll go down there and pick him up and go, how was he? And they're like, he's awesome. And
get out of here.
I swear to God.
He just does it for you. He just like knows that he's like digging into some sort of, like, genetic weird interest you have inside of you.
He looks at me and gives me these looks all the time, like, ha ha ha, fuck you. And if I'm not doing 100% activity with him, like 100, like if we're not dirt biking, mountain biking, skateboarding, playing football, he's doing damage. That's what I was going to say. It sounds like he probably excels when you're giving him, like, a physical activity, just like something to focus all that energy on. Yeah, it's totally what it is. And
there's no way you can keep up, right? No way.
No way. Did you ever hear Crazy Bobby always tells me this story that they took Jesse Owens once. You remember famous Jesse Owens, the Olympian, and they put him in a room. It was either Jesse Owens or it could have been, who was the famous football player that was part Native American Indian. I forget his name. He's also from Pennsylvania. They put him
with a P. He has the hair. Right?
No, I forget who it was, but it was years and years and years ago. But as a study, they put him in a room with a 2-year-old. And they were like, okay, do everything this child does. If the child stands up, you stand up. If the child runs around, you run around. If the child squats down, you squat down. And you do everything that they do. And they wanted to see, like, the activity level, how comparative it is, or what, like, greatest athlete, 2-year-old. After, like, 20 minutes, the athlete was like, I'm out. I can't keep up with this thing. And so I'm just warning you. This is what you're headed to. Do you know if you're having a boy or girl, or are you guys going to be surprised?
We don't know. Yeah, we're gonna keep it a surprise. We don't. It's going to be,
I'll tell you, it's
a surprise of our lives.
It's going to be a huge surprise. It's when they lifted my daughter up, they go, Dad, you want to call it? That's what they said to me. You want to call it? I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, when the baby comes out, we'll show it to you, and you say it's a boy or it's a girl. And I was like, cool. And my wife had a C-section, so I was behind a curtain, like, that I couldn't see her body. I could only see her head. And I'm sitting with her, and I'll tell you about that later. Because because somebody decided it'd be a good idea to look. The anesthesiologist was like, "You want to?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why not?" And he's like, "Go ahead." And then I came back. I was like, "I don't want to look. I don't want to look. I don't want to look." It was like Total Recall. They're like pulling a baby out of her stomach. So they pull Izzy up, and when they come out, they do not look good. Anybody that says it's beautiful can go fuck themselves. It's the creepiest looking thing in the world as this thing comes out, and it's got like blood and gook all over it, and it's all wrinkled and swollen in different places. And I see, like, they hold it up and they go, Dad, what is it? And I was like looking, and I'm like, and they're like, it's a girl. And I go, oh yeah, it's a girl. And I was like, it's a girl. And I honestly didn't care. You know, I was like, boy or girl, I'll take either. And I just wanted healthy. And I forgot my old joke. I go, I didn't care if it was a boy or girl. I just wanted it to be white. And I literally didn't know for a few seconds. Like, what is that? Is that? And
yeah, they're like, don't they come out like kind of blue and covered in gunk, and it's like weirdly shaped skull.
Yeah,
at the
it's
same
all
time.
it. I don't know how people like it. People say it's like the most beautiful moment of their life. I felt it to be traumatizing because it doesn't come out perfect. Like, oh, look at this beautiful. You're looking at it like, is that deformed? Is that wrong? And you're also like, everything that can go wrong. You're just thinking of all the possibilities. I'm going to tell you one thing. Do not read any of the stuff on the walls in the hospital, like around the delivery room. I'll tell you why. Because they have like in case of emergency stuff everywhere. And it's like, do this for the hospital personnel. And you will then read all this stuff and be like, I'm like, you're doctors and don't you know this shit? Like, why?
Like, why do you have to have a reference? Like, on the...
And it was all over the walls. And the second time when I went for my second kid, I started reading it all. And I'm like sitting in the room waiting because my wife would go in first and then I'd go in like 15 minutes later after they do the epidural and do this. And I would go in. So I'm sitting there like hanging out with the obstetrician. Like she hung out with me. Like they don't call her in, I don't think, till later also. Like they prep everything.
Yeah, those time like catch the baby basically.
Yeah, so we're like kind of hanging out and I just start reading this shit on the walls and I'm like, can this happen? Can this really happen? And she's like, don't read that shit. And I'm like, holy fuck. You know, like,
well, we don't know if we're going to do.
Oh, you might do the home shit.
Yeah, we might end up doing home birth actually. That's kind of what like our current plan is.
Hold on 1 second. I got to let my psycho dogs in. Roxy, come. Come here, Roxy. Come here. Good girl. Here, treat. You fell for that one. So, what's your date?
The due date. The due date right now is July 10th. That's our due date.
July 10th. Wow, you're getting so close. Oh my God, my son's birthday's July 9th.
We were just at the reason why we had to push was because we had an appointment with the midwives. Mm-hmm. So we had to go and do the baby doctor thing. And they're like, yeah, technically the finish line is 37. At 37, you're like totally good and fully cooked, but generally speaking, first babies are like 40 plus 5 days. And I was like, 40 plus. I was like doing the math. I was like, that's like a month and a half from now. Like we're not that far away from being in the middle of like
hell. It's
Who knows? I honestly don't know. Like I tell this to Katie. Anyone that asks, basically, like at any given day, at least in Austin, like since we moved, everything's been up in the air. But like in Austin, it was like any given day, I can wake up and I can tell you almost like to a T exactly what my day and Katie's day are going to be like start to finish. I've just got it down. Like we've done it so many different times. We already figured it out. And it's like there's like a date. It's like sometime in the first half of July where basically there's like darkness after that date. I could not for the life of me even fucking guess what my life is going to be like after that point.
No, your whole life is going to change so much that you have no idea. Your perspective on things is going to change. Your everything. Like nothing has changed me more than having a child. Like it has changed me 1,000%. It's just so much of my life, and there are going to be times. Mike Catherwood, Psycho Mike, put it best.
Yeah.
He said, "Kids are the best, worst things in the world," and there are going to be moments where you're feeling like you're being held hostage, like you're holding a crying baby. Well, you've got it to calm down, and and you're like, if I put this baby back down, it will start crying. If I move this arm this much, it will start crying. So I need to stay perfectly still. And we as humans, I don't think are very good at being bored anymore. Because, we have our phones. You're bored. You're sitting there being held hostage in this like position where it's just it's like an isometric hold where you're holding this child and you're like, I can't move. How long do I have to stay like this? And it'll be like an eternity where you're just like, now, granted, things have changed from our first kid to our second kid. We got a snoo.
Dude, I have a story about the snoo, but please tell me how your
if you don't get a snoo, you're a moron. The snoo is basically a robot that takes care of your child for you, and it's amazing. It's amazing. It is amazing. I love
the snooze. The snooze marketing to me is one of my favorite things about it. It's like, do you want the snoo or do you want your baby to die? Which one do you want?
Yeah.
It's like those are basically the choices website has.
Do you want to love your child even more? Get a snoo.
How badly do you want your child to not have sudden infant death syndrome? If you really want that, then snooze your option.
Do you enjoy sleep? Get a snoo. Do you? It takes.
Is it really that good?
Did
you buy it or did you rent it?
My wife is friends with a whole bunch of women in our neighborhood that all have kids the same age, and it's like stuff just gets passed around. Yeah. So the snoo went from one mother to another mother because they're so expensive.
Yeah, they're super expensive. So here's my story about the snoo. So I went to a bunch.
Let me explain to the listener what a snoo is.
Oh yeah, that's right. This is important. Yeah.
You're basically putting your child down in a little bassinet kind of thing and strapping them down. They get strapped in, and the snoo is like a Tesla. It like knows you. It knows when the baby starts to sleep, and it rocks the baby. It plays like sounds, and it's like shh, and it moves to like the baby's sleeping rhythm. It's so incredible, and the baby is, I think, Velcroed in.
They get like swaddled in a specific
they get
swaddled
and then Velcroed, and they just go to sleep. It's unbelievable. And it was the biggest probably in my life. It would be like me, like from first kid to second kid, it'd be like me talking like, I used to drive a covered wagon and now I have a pickup truck. It's that different. And how much it changes your life.
So you probably use it for what, like the first like 3 or 4 months?
I think so.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. But maybe that's what made my son a psychopath, that he didn't have the nurturing that we were supposed to do.
Maybe the robot raising him.
Yeah.
The robot in the snoo.
Maybe the robot programmed him to spray me in the face the other day. Yesterday. Was that yesterday? Yesterday.
Dude, so Katie told me about the snoo. She was like, "Hey, I found this thing on Instagram. It like looks really interesting. Like it's super expensive. We don't have to buy it, but we can rent it." I was like, "This is crazy. Like this is starting to get really out of control." And I just kind of like, I was like, you know what? We'll talk about this. Was like really early in the pregnancy. I was like, let's figure this out. Like there's a lot between here and like the third trimester. We'll figure this out when we get there. We'll learn more about it and we'll figure out the bassinet situation then. So I completely like put it in the back of my mind, other than knowing that this like crazy expensive thing called the snoo exists. And then I was like scrolling through my Instagram and I saw this Instagram handle that's like a friend of mine from college. Now I went to 3 different colleges. I spent a year at UC Merced, didn't like it. So then I went to Santa Monica College for a couple of years. And then I finished at UC Irvine. And I met this girl while I was at Santa Monica College who was like clearly like in a wealthy family, but like I didn't really know what her parents did. She said her dad's a doctor. She said that like, he's a writer. And I was like, okay, like none of that means anything to me. Like I'm 20, like who cares, whatever. So we like hung out. We did like schoolwork. We had a couple classes together. We spent a little bit of time together, like outside class, but like nothing too crazy. And we haven't really kept in touch, but like I still follow her on Instagram. And I saw her post something on Instagram that was like Forbes 100 women's list. And it was her. I was like, what the hell did she do? Like, that's crazy.
She invented the snoo.
No, her dad did. Her dad and her mom invented the snoo, and she named it. She named it, and she helps them run the company.
Can you call her? Like, can you call her and say, "Get me a snoo now"?
I was like, this is crazy to me, because like it turns out the thing that her dad is a doctor of and that is writing books about is he is like world's foremost infant sleep specialist.
Oh my God.
So I was like, what the hell just happened? Like, how did my worlds like collide in this really strange way where I have this experience like meeting this person 15 years ago or 13 years ago or whenever it was, and suddenly now,
they're not that bad. I mean, they're bad. It's still expensive. It's like more than the C2 rower, but it's
they're like they're like 3 or 4 times the price of a normal bassinet.
Right, sure. They're $1,400, $1,500. I'm looking right now. $1,500 is a brand new one.
The rental is like $150 a month or $200 a month.
Yeah, and right? So it kind of sucks if you're like, I'm going to buy this thing and then not need it in a few months. But they probably resell really well. And look, I want you to not get one, and then get one, because you'll never appreciate it. See, I got to appreciate, because I went from one kid without one to one kid with one, and when we got it, and my wife was like, "This new thing," and I was like, "Oh, this dumb thing," and I remember like when he first went down and we put him in, and I was like, wait a minute, he's asleep. And I was like, what? This is it? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, till when? She's like, till morning. I'm like, what? She's like, well, till he needs to feed again, And I was like, this is the most amazing thing in the history of the world. Like it should get like the greatest invention award. But you won't, because you'll just think that's what raising a child is like.
What about the other ones that also like move and like vibrate and spin and stuff?
No, just do it the other way for a little bit. I want you to know what it's like. I want you. Yeah,
I'll schedule the snoo delivery for like 3 weeks in.
Yep.
So then I just have like.
Yep. Then you'll know. Then you'll know. I know.
That's like the real test, right? That's like the actual way that you test to see whether something like that is worth it. Like you have to do it. You have to live without it for a little while, and then you have to hope that it actually does something.
Yeah, it's like sex. When you don't get it, and then you get it, you really appreciate it.
That's right.
See, I always got it. Now I don't get it. Well, congratulations again. I can't wait to see the little Armen or whatever it's going to be. Do you have names if it's a boy or girl?
We have some names. We have a girl name that we're like pretty locked in on, and then we have no agreement when it comes to a boy name. Like Katie has a boy name that she really likes, and I'm like kind of on the fence about it.
Are you going to go with an Armenian name, or are you? Is Katie like, no, we're
no? I don't think she's like opposed to doing an Armenian name, but like neither of us are really like the names that we've thrown around so far aren't really that Armenian. Like they're kind of cultural, but like not super cultural.
But your last name, it almost is like it had to go with it.
Yeah, it's like I can't have a kid named like Ralph.
Yeah, yeah,
like, that's not gonna.
Yeah, it has to fit with the last name. When we named him Cruz, it was kind of like Cruz Ift. I don't know if that Izzy Ift sounds good, but Cruz, I was like, that's kind of a Mexican name with a German last name. This is just odd, but whatever. I mean, Cruz's name is Edward Charles Ift the Fourth. But
oh really?
Yeah, but we were like, we're not doing that to him.
He's number 4.
Yeah, we did it for the family, to make my dad happy. But yeah, we were like, we're not going to plague that kid. So now what we've plagued him with is every single time he goes to fill out like any kind of form, and they're like, "What's your name?" And he's like, and they're like, "What's your real name?" It's Edward. Well, how come you didn't sign this here? And why is this signed like this? And you can't get your money now because you signed this wrong. And yeah, his life's fucked. That's probably why he hosed me.
Maybe he's preemptively getting back at you for screwing him over like that.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk.
Can you imagine
go
all
ahead.
the different times? Can you imagine all the different drop-down menus he has to go all the way down to the 4th? Like it's not even senior, not junior, but he has to go all the way down to the 4th.
It has created so many problems in my life that the worst ever. I was in Dubai. I missed a plane flight one day, and I'm coming home, and my agent made the mistake of putting on because my license says like Edward Charles Ift the Third or something. He put on my plane ticket Edward Charles. So I'm sitting in the airport, and I'm like not at my gate, and they're going, "Would Edward Charles please come to the gate? Edward Charles, come to the gate. Edward Charles, we're waiting for you. The plane's waiting for you, Edward." And in my head, I thought we were leaving an hour later than we were leaving. And so finally I walked to the gate, and I'm like, "Hey, what's up? Where is everybody?" And they're like, "The plane left." And they're like, "Are you Edward Charles?" And I'm like, "I'm Edward Ift." They're like, "Let's see your light." They're like, "We were calling you." And I'm like, "You were?" They're like, "Yeah, Edward Charles." I'm like, "That's not me. I'm Edward Ift." And they're like, "Well, we had to take your luggage off the plane. Do you know how hard that is to find?" And they're like yelling at me. And I go, "Well, so what do we do now?" And they're like, "I don't know. You missed your flight. You go figure it out." Like they're angry at me. So I was like, "When's the next flight?" And they're like, "Not for 24 hours. So I'm like, now I got to go to an internet cafe because it's before like what? I got to figure out how to get another flight. Do I have to buy one? What's happening? Because the airline guys won't talk to me. They're angry at me. So I finally call. They're like, I talked to the airline. They're like, "Okay, you can get on the next flight 24 hours later." Cool. So I go to leave the airport, and I call the booker of my comedy gig. And I go, "Hey, can you pick me back up? And I need another room for tonight." He's like, "Yeah, no problem. I'll come get you." So I go to leave the airport. And as I'm leaving customs, the guy goes, "Can I see your ID?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So I give him my passport and everything. He goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "What?" He goes, "You don't have a visa to leave here." And I go, "Oh, I missed my flight." And he goes, "Yeah, but your visa, you were on a 3-day visa. Your visa's over." And I said, "Yeah, but my next flight isn't until tomorrow." So he goes, "So what?" He goes, "Let me see your ticket." So I show him my ticket. It says Edward Charles. My passport doesn't match my ticket. He goes,
"Oh, no."
He goes, "Why does your plane ticket not match your passport?" And I go, "Oh, my agent made a mistake." And he goes, "Mistake?" He goes, "Hold on." And he just takes my passport and walks away.
Oh,
never
shit.
never to be seen again for 24 hours. They kept me in the airport. I was like Tom Hanks in that movie where he's trapped in the airport like a man without a country. And I'm like, literally, guys are yelling at me and they're going, go down that hallway right there. One time they go down this hallway. So I go down this hallway and there's signs that going, do not go past this point. Do not go past this point. And I'm looking back at the guy and he's going, go. And I'm like, oh no, this is where I get shot. This is where I get shot right here. I had a cell phone. I called, but like I didn't have internet on. I called my girlfriend at the time and I go, do me a favor, call the U.S. Embassy. Tell them I'm stuck at the airport. If you don't hear from me in an hour, I'm in big trouble. And so then they just kept starting to bring me into offices, questioning me. And then there was a point where they took my bags, because they had gotten my bags. They opened up my laptop. And I was like, oh no. Oh no. Because I'm like, I don't know what's going to open on there, what's going to pop up. And pornography is illegal in the Middle East. And I'm like, I can just see myself 20 years from now in like a Middle Eastern prison. And my cellmate's like, why are you here? And I'm like, oh, I downloaded Topless Car Wash Angels. And it was on my laptop and I didn't know it was there. And
Topless Car Wash Angels?
They terrorized me for an entire, like there were shifts of guys coming through. They kept going, where is your passport? And I was like, I don't know. I gave it to a guy and they're like, who? And I said at one point, you all look the same to me. And the funniest part of it all is the guy that took my passport came back eventually on like the next shift when I like saw him again on like the third shift. And he was like really nice to me. And I'm like, dude, you stole my passport. And he talked to me all about he liked to go to the Arnold Classic.
No, get out
in
of
Columbus. And he was into bodybuilding. And I was like, he'd be like, did you ever go to the... And I'm like, why did you steal my passport? Did you go home with it? Like, and I'm like, has there been a crime committed? Did somebody fly and blow up a building under my passport?
Jesus.
But that is why you should never name your kid something other than his real name, and don't put a third or fourth or junior or any of that shit on there.
Yeah, I've never had a middle name, and Katie has a middle name now, but...
Is a middle name not having one a problem?
No, it actually makes things easier.
No, but I know, but sometimes it'll say
right?
middle name, and then you don't put it in, and they're like, what's your middle name? And you're like, I don't have one.
every like government document that I've filled out that has like the middle name spot, it allows me to just put NMN, like no middle name, and it just like it X's it out. It just knows that doesn't
really
count.
Your whole life.
Yeah.
Really.
I've never run into that as a child, but as an adult, every time I've had to go into like a federal like document, I've just put NMN.
My question: what does Mr. T do? Does he
I don't even know what his real name is.
Does he write first name Mr., last name T?
Does he spell out the T?
I met Mr. T once, and I should ask that question. My story about how I stalked Ralph Macchio.
Mr. T.
You know the whole story. I've told this a million times about how I stalked Ralph Macchio. Well, I kind of did the same thing to Mr. T. I used to be with this agency that for voiceovers, they had all these like celebrities. And one time I was in, and you would go audition at your agency. So you'd be like at auditions and they'd be meeting with their clients, or they'd be auditioning too. And one time Mr. T's in there and he's doing voiceovers, and I didn't know he was a client or anything, but I was like, holy fuck, it's Mr. T. And I go running down to him with a piece of paper, or I like go up and I'm like, hey, Mr. T, Mr. T. And he's got gold chains on and everything. I'm like, can I get an autograph? And I put the piece of paper in front of him, and he just goes, Mr. T doesn't sign a piece of paper. Get me a picture, fool. And
yes, yes.
And I was like, I don't have a picture. So I asked them if they had any headshots of his, and they're like, no. So me and my agent printed a picture off the internet, like at the printer. It's like, and I come running in with this like wet, hot piece of paper with Mr. T's face. And he's like, oh, good fool. Yeah, I'll sign it for you now, you know? And I have it somewhere. I have the picture, the signed picture from Mr. T. Mr. T doesn't sign paper. Get a picture, fool.
He even called you fool. That's perfect.
Oh, I did. It was awesome.
It's the perfect Mr. T interaction.
I have Mike Tyson bit my ear. I had
That's fantastic.
I'm trying to think of other celebrities that I've had do weird shit like that. I heard a great story. I'd sex with a girl once who also had sex with Jack Nicholson. And she was
that should be in your obituary.
She was a hot waitress at a nightclub in New York, and she had told me she met him at the nightclub. Like Jack Nicholson hung out at a nightclub, and Jack Nicholson pulled this like hot young chick, like she was younger than me, and you know Jack's like 40 years older than me or whatever, and I don't know how old, but I was like, oh my God, what was that? Like, you slept with Jack Nicholson? And she's like, yeah. And I go, what's that like? She's like, yeah, you know. And I'm like, no, I don't. Describe it.
That's why I asked.
And I said, like, I don't know why. Like, I guess I started thinking about myself. And I'm like, Jack Nicholson's probably slept with thousands of women. And then he slept with her. And now I'm sleeping with her. I go, did he wear a condom? And she goes, no. And I'm like, oh, and she goes, he said Jack doesn't wear condoms.
Jack doesn't wear condoms.
And I can just hear him, Jack doesn't wear condoms. Like, not only does he not wear condoms, but he talks about himself in third person. She's like,
of course he does. He's Jack Nicholson.
Can you put a condom on? Jack doesn't wear condoms. Yeah. Austin, you're gone. You left.
Yeah,
Why?
I'm out of Austin.
Was it the baby?
Yeah, it was the baby. I mean, like, listen, we're in Glendale now. We're like right down the street from my parents. We're right down the street from my brothers.
How close are you to the ET house?
I actually don't know how close I am to the ET house, but we're about 6 minutes away from the Casablanca house, if that helps you.
The ET house is more important. I didn't realize that
it was the ET house in Glendale. I didn't know.
The ET house, I looked it all up. I was watching ET with my daughter. Most of it was filmed in Thousand Oaks and out here, Agora, that kind of area where I am. But the house itself backs right up to the mountains in Glendale.
Oh.
And I remember as a kid,
let's see.
I remember as a kid thinking that house was like the coolest house in the world. And now I've looked at it on like Google Maps and I'm like, that house is kind of a dump.
It says it's on Tahunga, which is not close to me.
But that's Glendale, right?
Not quite. Here, let's see. The ET house. No, I would say it's probably 30 minute.
That's far.
30-minute, 20-minute drive.
So what is that? What area is that if it's not Glendale?
So here. Can you see it on the map?
Yeah.
The red dot is the ET house and the blue dot is me.
Oh, so that's what area? What area is that?
So I'm like where like the 2 and the 210 and the 134 meet, and the ET house is like west and north of us, like past.
But what neighborhood would you call that?
Where I live?
No, where the ET house is.
Tahunga, North Tahunga. It backs up to the Angeles Crest, like the Angeles National Forest. Yeah.
I mean,
which isn't that far. I mean, if I had to guess, I mean, let's see, what does it say the drive is? The drive's 20 minutes. Yeah, it's right up the road.
If you looked, like, remember the house, it did just like back right up into the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they had a pool in the back.
I do remember.
You didn't see the pool in there's a trail that goes right behind it, the Rim of the Valley Trail. You can walk
the ET house it's just north of Burbank. Like it's like not too far north of like the Burbank airport.
You can walk right in their backyard practically. That's terrible. I feel sorry for them for that.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that.
So where is Katie's family?
Katie's family is in Eastern Washington State.
Oh, okay. So you weren't going
So
there.
just outside of Spokane.
Yeah,
It's like they live north of Spokane.
I've been to Spokane a bunch of times.
Yeah, it's nice, but like neither of us really wanted to live there,
No.
and we wanted to be closer to family.
It
and then we were
helps.
thinking of like waiting. We are like, oh, let's wait until the kid's born. Let's wait until maybe the kid's like 4 months or 5 months. And I was like, I don't think that's going to be easier to move with a 4-month-old or a 6-month-old than it is.
You did the right thing.
Yeah.
Back to
It was
the
tough.
living the famous TV houses. Have you ever heard of the Breaking Bad house?
Where's that at?
That's in New Mexico, Albuquerque. I went to see it, and there's like signs like, please do not park on this side of the road. Like everybody, but apparently everybody used to go by and throw pizzas on the roof.
I've never watched Breaking Bad, but I remember seeing a picture of that, and I remember hearing that the house had to like put signs up or like a fence up or something because people kept throwing pizzas on their roof. That's so fucked up. And can you imagine, by the way, it's like you and I know that they probably got paid what, $5,000 or like $10,000 to like have them use the house for that entire time. And you basically get paid nothing just to have your house become like the biggest hassle of your entire life.
You get destroyed forever, people.
Just for all eternity, your life is a complete mess because people want to recreate a scene from a TV show.
Yeah, the Brady Bunch house, I think one of the members of NSYNC bought it.
That does not surprise me. I don't know which one, but that doesn't surprise me.
I have driven by that. It's in Sherman Oaks, I think. I drove by the Brady Bunch house, and Brady Bunch house.
Did they keep it? Do you think they kept it like, because the Brady Bunch house, the thing about the Brady Bunch house that really sticks out to me is that it is the quintessential 70s home.
Yeah.
Like there is not a single building on the face of the planet that is more 70s than that Brady Bunch house.
Located at 11222 Dilling Street in Studio City, California. Originally, it's a split style house, like. Yeah.
Yes.
I forget. They did a renovation. HGTV purchased the house.
Boo.
And I think they restored it to the original Brady Bunch house. Because a friend of mine who's a producer, Dan Levy, is a stand-up comedian. He's a producer, just had his own sitcom. Dan
Levy?
No, different Dan Levy. And also had a sitcom at the same exact time. Dan's was called Uninsured or something. Or
That's got to be a little bit of a kick in the dick, right?
I've asked him all about that. Yeah.
You get like a show on TV and you're not even the second, you're the second best Dan Levy on TV.
Yeah. He posted pictures of him in the Brady house. And I was like, what the fuck? How did you, I need to go. I always had like when I was younger, I wanted to open a bar that was the Brady Bunch house. And every room was like one of the Brady rooms, and you go into that room, you smoke weed up in Greg's bedroom up on the third floor.
You 100% should make that happen.
It would be the best bar ever.
Yeah, that's a great fucking idea. And in California, especially in LA, that's the type of thing that gets a lot of traction.
Yeah. It'd be like a lot. Like, where are we now? Oh, we're going out to the turf backyard. Go in the garage. We're going to play ping pong or pool or whatever they had when they got that. I don't know. You're too young to watch Did you watch the Brady Bunch?
Yeah, I used to, because I spent a lot of time with my grandma, and she would watch like John Wayne, Brady Bunch, I Love Lucy, just like any TV show from like that 30-year era between like the 50s and the 80s, pretty much.
Yeah.
So,
when I was growing up, there was a show I liked, the sitcom called The Fall Guy, and it was Lee Majors, the $6 Million Man, was a stuntman. And it was all about he like banged all these hot chicks, and he just like lived in this like rural area up in the mountains and drove like a lifted pickup truck. And I remember like being in Pittsburgh going, that's the life I want. Like his bathtub was outside, and I was like, I want that. I want to live up in the mountains in California, have a truck, and now I like do it.
Now, I was about to say, it's like, it sounds like you've kind of manifested that dream, dude.
I really did. And so I'm reading my next story the other day, and they're talking about there's this place near us that people used to go drink at. It was a little different back then. You could like saddle up your horses and go in and get drunk. And they're like, oh yeah, remember when Lee Majors used to come there all the time and get drunk? And I'm like, what? Like, it turns out the house was in Topanga where they shot the Fall Guy. But that's kind of where I just had Paradiso on the show yesterday. That's where they are now, up in Topanga.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and there was just the fires there. They moved in, and 2 weeks later, it's fires.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Aren't those fires? Didn't they arrest some kids about those fires?
Wasn't a kid. He was an older dude, and I think they let him free because they didn't have enough evidence or something.
That sucks.
But like, what do you do? I was at first like, get that guy, and then I heard they're like, well, there's a guy that likes to set fires. He lives up there. There's a fire. Like, can you go arrest him for that? Unless you see the guy light the fire, you can't arrest him. It's the the world we live in. All right, I've sidetracked this whole show. This is the longest intro ever.
You want to start recording now, or
yeah. This is the good stuff, though. I talk so much CrossFit and strength and conditioning and nutrition that every once in a while we need a nice breather like this.
It's exhausting.
But I do want to get into it a little bit with you because I don't give a fuck usually. I mean, I like the games. I don't love it. I like to watch it. I enjoy it. I like how awesome they all have become. But it's so far out of. It's like me watching NFL football. Like, oh my god!
I think that's a good thing. And here's what I'll tell you. I have proof that I think that's a good thing. I was just on a call with somebody yesterday, and they asked me like, "Oh, like, do you still, whatever? Like, are you still a part of like WODcast?" And I kind of explained our situation or whatever, and I was like, "Yeah, like Eddie does a great job. Like, why? Like, I'm not going to get in the way of that. And if he needs help." Talk like getting a hold of athletes or whatever, or coaches, like I'm happy to make those connections. And I remember the last person that you asked me to put you in touch with, I think was Vellner. It must have been Vellner.
Yeah.
And so this guy brings up the Vellner episode specifically. He's like, that is the best episode of any like CrossFit podcast with a CrossFit person he's ever listened to.
Oh, wow. Well, tell him I said thank you.
He's like, I listened to him for hours, and it actually painted a real personality of who this person is, as opposed to like, yeah, we're having a good time just doing some burpees, and then I'm going to rest and I'm going to do some deadlifts. And it's cool. Like, Vellner's such a dope guy, and his character hasn't really been shown really well.
He's great.
He's great. Media. So
he's great. And he's such a smart guy too. Like, there's a reason he's good at what he does. He knows what he's doing. I just looked at him like, this is a big lug who just is so strong. He's just got that like ape strength that he's just like, I move shit, and then you talk to him and you're like, oh, this guy knows exactly what he's doing. That's what I try to do with the show. And it's funny. I messaged someone, I'm not going to say who, recently. And I said, hey, I want to have Fraser on the show, but I heard him on Rogan and I found the interview. I don't know why. It just was kind of stale. And I love Rogan, and I think Fraser is amazing and an incredible athlete. But I used to interview a lot of athletes when I did sports radio, and like big time, like NFL and NBA and Major League Baseball. And I always found them really difficult being a comedian. They were so guarded. And there's a reason they're guarded. They're making millions of dollars, and they don't want to lose it. And I don't blame them. So I would keep my fucking mouth shut too. And so talking about that about Fraser, he's the one guy that's making millions of dollars. So he's guarded, and I just went, should I have him on, or is it going to be boring? Like, is he going to, and they went, probably boring. And I went, okay, I'm not going to have him. And everybody's like, why would you not have him? And I'm like, because I don't want to have a boring conversation.
Can I make a suggestion that you do actually have him on, but wait for a couple of months?
Yeah.
And have him on like later in the summer. And I would say that because he's like building this compound up in Vermont right now that's supposed to be pretty cool. But I talked to him about his thing on Rogan, because it, like, that Rogan episode for some reason became a big deal. CrossFitters are also, they're all just so sensitive about the dumbest things. And it's like, Fraser went on there and did what? He talked about how he doesn't care about the methodology. To him, it's like, yeah, it's a sport. It's helped people that I know who are out of weight, are out of shape, lose some weight and get into better like healthier habits. But like, it's hit and miss depending on which gym you walk into, and it has had like X, Y, or Z issues in the past. Like, none of that is really that controversial. I think people were just expecting him to go out there and just like rah in like the name of CrossFit, which is like, he never ever has done that in the past. But I talked to him about it, and I think he was like, man, I locked up. He's like, I sat down across from Joe and I locked up. He's like, I had things that I wanted to ask him about and talk about, and I had all these like ideas for like various conversations. And it's like, all of it just went right out the window the moment we started talking. And I get that, right? It's like,
it's intimidating. I mean, I've done Joe's show 3 times, and I did it a lot back in the day when it still was massive, but it wasn't like it is now. And I can see how, if you like, I speak for a living, and I used to get nervous, and I'd go on a TV show, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, 10 million people are about to see me. Mm-hmm. And I've learned to get over that over the years of just doing it over and over and over and over again. Just like Fraser can walk out onto a CrossFit floor and doesn't give a shit that everybody's up in the stands and watching on TV, and he can just power through it. But this is out of his wheelhouse. And so I could see, that's what I thought it was. And I've seen Rogan become overwhelming with comedians, with athletes, with whatever. Unless Rogan's kissing their ass, like he's so into what they do, everybody tends to become sycophantic to Rogan and start going, yeah, totally. Yeah, I agree with you. Instead of, which I'm sure Rogan would probably love to hear them disagree with him. Mm-hmm. And I heard Kelly Slater on there, and I'm a huge Kelly Slater fan. And Slater, talked MMA the whole time. And I'm like, dude, you're the greatest surfer of all time, And you banged Giselle. Can you please tell us some cool stuff? And I think it just becomes overwhelming for these guys. And I wonder if Joe's aware of that. Because
of course he is. He has to be, because there's like news articles written of like throwaway comments that he makes in the middle of a 3.5 hour podcast, in the middle of like one of 6 3.5 hour podcasts he releases a week. Like, people lose their minds over what Joe has to say, which generally speaking is like the dumbest strategy to have.
Yeah. Joe's really open-minded and really wants to and he's such a humble guy that I think, I don't know. People can set him off too. I've heard them, and I've seen it happen, but I don't know. But Fraser, I thought it was a bit of a disservice to the, you don't bite the hand that feeds you. I get it that he was never really part of CrossFit. He just found a sport that he was really good at and could do, and was never raw. I've never been raw. But if all my money is coming from this sport, I'm not going to shit talk it, which I'm not saying he shit talked it, but he just he was like, yeah, there's bad trainers out there and blah, blah. I would have taken more of, that's why I think he'd be even more guarded now after that.
Maybe. I think the thing of the reason why I would say wait a couple months as well is because he's like working on all these different businesses that he's launching basically this year. He has like his programming, he has like a supplement company, he has like this thing, that thing, whatever, like he has all this different stuff. So it's like he has things that are in the pipeline that are interesting in that they're very different from anything we've seen other athletes in the space do. Like, the only other model we have for someone like the behavior that you take after you retire is Rich, but Rich's model is very different than Matt's model. Like, the things that Rich did with Mayhem and like what he's building with Mayhem is very different than what Matt is building with his own sort of like Fraser brand. And I think it's interesting to kind of see that divergence of divergence of strategies between the two of them. And I'm curious to see what ends up happening between them, because I think they're both going to be successful. So it's going to kind of be a prototype for other athletes.
I also wonder, and I don't want to shit talk Matt, but somehow, and it might just be their personalities or whatever it is, Rich Froning became iconic to CrossFit. Like, it was like Froning, that name. I would hear people that weren't even in CrossFit throw out the Froning name. They'd be like, like you'd do something, be like, what are you, Rich Froning? And you're like, how do you know him? And they're like, it's Rich Froning. Everybody knows Rich Froning. Where I think if you interviewed 100 people that don't do CrossFit and you're like, who's Matt Fraser? They'd be like, I don't know. And even though he has a better record, has accomplished more, probably would beat Rich, Rich just seemed iconic to CrossFit. Where, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, I'm worried that Matt, without being in CrossFit and without competing in CrossFit, will go away.
I mean, he's going to have to find ways of keeping himself in the community. So I don't know what his solution is to that. And I think you're right, because while he was competitive, he was very, very secluded. Like, he purposefully set himself off from everybody else and really only interacted with a handful of other athletes that he was comfortable with. So it makes sense that, like, people don't have a feel for his personality, whereas Rich wasn't the most open person, but like there was a mythology that was built around him. Sure. That he kind of like fostered. He was like, yeah, what is Rich doing? I don't know. You don't know either. It's great. Right.
Sure.
So like,
and we have to remember that Rich is still competing in CrossFit.
Yeah. Rich is a different, he's like,
but
I love what he does, because he's like, I don't have to compete other than to support the brand. And it just so happens I love to do this.
Yeah.
Like, he literally is only doing the things he wants to be doing. And that's like a level of freedom, dude.
Oh, it's the best.
It's like it's so nice. It is such a nice place to be. Like, I love going out to like visit. I mean, I've been out to Cookville like 3 times. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like I'm there every weekend, but like every time I've been out there, I've just been blown away by just the scope of freedom that Rich has on a regular basis, as well as like the control he has in his little bubble. It's really dope. It's like super cool that he set that up. And I think Fraser is going to end up setting up something like that as well.
Yeah.
But the big difference is that like Matt isn't interacting with any competitors right now. He's not like, oh, I brought in Vellner to train with me or Medeiros to train with me, or like, he's not interacting with you. He's like, I'm out.
Yeah.
So he's completely out of it right now. So like, unless he finds a way of like plugging himself back into the competitive side of things in some way, it's going to be really interesting to see how he ends up like playing that game, how he ends up staying relevant is such a stupid term, but like at the heart of it, that's basically what we're talking about.
But it also might not matter because of the amount of money that Matt made. Rich made a lot of money, but Matt was, as CrossFit developed more and the contracts were bigger and everything, Matt made more money, where he might have kind of FU money where he's just like, you know what, whatever happens, happens. And he's also the kind of guy, he's such a smart guy, he's got an engineering background. He's like you said, freedom to do whatever he wants to do. All I'm saying is from the public perception, he might fade away. He might fade away into, not saying he's not successful. He'll just be ultra successful in whatever he does, whatever he wants to do. He can do whatever he wants. I'm just saying Froning has stuck around. Froning's relevancy is directly related to CrossFit and has completely stayed relevant because he still competes in CrossFit and is part of CrossFit. Like, he is part of the CrossFit world. He owns a CrossFit gym. He owns these. He's completely intertwined in the community, and that Fraser not being involved might let him just slip away. And he'll always be known as probably the greatest CrossFitter of all time. But that there's football players like that. Dan Marino still is on HBO Sports. He's a commentator, but there are quarterbacks that just are like, later, dude. They're great quarterbacks that you just never see again.
I think the thing about Matt is like he's super smart, and he's very, very competitive. He's like, so the thing that he's like competing in right now, quote unquote, is business. So like he's launched like his programming. He's launched this like I said, the supplement company, whatever. He's working on a bunch of different things. So like he understands that there's going to be work involved in making those businesses successful, not just like marginally successful because of his name, but also long-term successful. And I think the big play and the big question is who's going to break out of the space first, right? Like if I had to say, it's like who in the CrossFit space or who started in the CrossFit space has the biggest potential to have like a 9-figure exit out of an acquisition of a company they started. Right?
I'll tell you
like,
who.
I feel like
Rogue Fitness.
Well, that's different. That doesn't count. I mean, Bill and Katie have literally done something that I don't think anyone else on the face of the planet have ever done. And Rogue is a monster. Rogue is like significantly larger than CrossFit. Like by a lot. They're basically doing CrossFit a favor by like even associating with them. We've
talked about that a million times about the one that became profitable through CrossFit was Rogue. And
in terms of athletes,
Greg did pretty well.
Who?
Greg did pretty well.
Greg did okay.
Yeah.
He walked away doing okay. He pocketed a nice.
I'll tell you someone, if we're looking at financially, who has created a monster of a business.
Can we say the same name at the same time? Because I think we're going to say the same
No,
name.
I don't think we will. But let's say it at the same time. Miranda Oldroyd.
Sure. Oh, Miranda Oldroyd for sure. Actually, you're right. Yeah. She and Julian have crushed it.
Street parking is ridiculous. I was up at their operation and what they're doing and the amount of, like when it comes to programming, nobody's doing it like they are. Nobody. And they're killing it. You don't think so?
They have a really big operation too.
Huge. But they can afford it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's been a lot of people that have done some great things. I want to, because I'm pressed for time a bit. No, I'm not. Am I? No. I just have busy here. But somebody's got to go pick up Cruz. My wife and I are both like, he's got a black eye right now, and we don't know where he got it. My wife thinks he did it. My wife thinks I did it. I think she did it, and both of us think he deserved it.
That's a great bit, dude.
Yeah.
That is a great bit.
It's just the funniest thing. He walks around with a black eye, and we're like, what? I know how he got it. I actually saw it happen, but I didn't think he got a black eye. He like fell and hit the edge of the table, and he didn't even cry. He just looked at me like, what? What are you looking at? And I was like, oh, that hurt. And sure enough, like a day later, a black eye showed up. But we call him Bruiser, and it's just he's got a bruise every day. Like there's like here or here or here. He just falls. He wears a helmet to ride skateboards and bikes and stuff, and I just leave it on. Like as soon as he gets on, I'm like, just keep the helmet on. You're gonna fall 15 more times.
Love it.
What I wanted to get to though with you is, I'm not paying attention that much. I guess I would think Vellner's the guy this year. Who do you think? We all know Tia.
Right.
We all know Tia and the girls. That's why I'm not bringing up the girls.
No. Tia has a stranglehold on the women's division until she retires. Just the same way Matt did.
The only way Tia could lose is if she pulls a Mike Tyson and starts partying with Bobby Brown. And,
just shows up high on fucking coke, like coked out of her mind.
That's what
Tyson
was partying when he lost to Buster Douglas. He had been partying with Bobby Brown. And that's
crazy.
Mike Tyson. I met Mike Tyson because we did a show together in Las Vegas. Like he would do a show right after me, and we shared a green room. And he said, "You know you're partying too hard when Bobby Brown tells you to go home." And that was like the night or 2 nights before. I forget if it was the night before or 2 nights before he fought Buster Douglas. And, that's why he lost. So that's the only way Tia's losing. Otherwise, it's one. And it's who's going to get second.
Side, if you look at last year's podium, you have the obvious contenders are whoever was the top 5 last year. So you're talking about Sam Quant, Justin Medeiros, Noah Olson, and Adler, right? Mm-hmm. So between those 4 guys, they all have the potential to podium again. I think between the 4 of them, I would probably say the younger guys, in terms of newer guys, not necessarily younger, but Adler and Medeiros are like the 2 I would keep my eye on the most.
You're not saying Quant?
I like Quant a lot, but he came out of nowhere last year. It was really surprising to me how well he did getting into the top 5. I expected him to do well once they made it to the ranch, but getting into the top 5, I was really surprised by that. It's not like I don't want to hold it against him. I just think that the programming that happened during the that online portion of the 2020 games was skewed in a way that just barely favored him. And I think that was part of the reason why he excelled as well as he did. And that's not to take anything away from him, because at the end of the day, the programming is such a huge part of who excels. It's not, we've been spoiled with having Matt and Tia and Rich be so dominant, but at the end of the day, everyone else has all this parity and turnover because the programming changes. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think there's going to be a quote unquote correction, a regression to the mean.
But don't you think that those guys, don't you think those guys have figured out Fraser was the best at saying, train your weaknesses, and Fraser and Froning won because they just became so good at everything. And they just showed that CrossFit, you have to be well-rounded. You don't have to be the greatest at something, but you have to be so good at everything. And don't you think all these guys that are in contention have learned that, and they're trying to just model these guys and go, what's Fraser do? I'm going to do the exact same thing.
Yes, but also no. So if I had to say a name out of left field to actually win the games next year, the 3 names I would come up with would be Fikowski, Vellner, and BKG. And it's between the 3 of them, I would say
Fikowski. You think Fikowski has a chance?
I think Fikowski could win the games, man. I mean, it might be, maybe that's just me with rose-colored glasses. And
yes, that is. That is. And I like the guy. He's a nice guy, but no way. I would bet every Bitcoin I have.
Me too. All 0.
Yeah, there's no way, no possible way. He is just, he's outside of it now. Quant I like Quant because Quant said to me on the show, I was like, if there was a fight between all the CrossFitters, who would win? And he's like, I would.
100%. I believe that. I believe that.
I was like, who would you be afraid of? And he's like, he was just so nonchalantly I think I could take them all. And
you know what I like about Sam is that he his first year at the CrossFit Games, a lot of people don't remember this, but it was 2016 and he was a child. He was 19.
Yeah.
And he won one of the events. He won the DT event. So he beat Matt Fraser at the top of Matt Fraser's game at an event that Matt Fraser has no business losing. So it's yeah, Sam has a truly exceptional capacity to be really good at CrossFit. Right. I just don't he has ups and downs in his competitive years. And then the other part of it is that he's 100% Team Bergeron right now. And Ben, as good of a coach as he is, has a lot of holes in his game in terms of developing athletes. So with those changes, I'm curious to see if Sam and Katrin can continue their positive growth over this next year.
Armen,
and I'm also interested.
One second. Sorry to interrupt you. My wife is going to get the monster. I got to stop to talk to you guys about Eat the 80. Why? Because I eat the 80 all the time. I eat lots of 80s. I eat the 80. I eat 80 80s. I've probably had 80 80s. I've had way more than 80 80s. I eat the 80. Just go to eatthE80.com. You won't even need me to do this ad if you look at eatthE80.com. You're going to go Oh my God, I want to eat the 80. Eat the Eddie? Eat the 80. Wow, that's sounded a little pornographic. Just go to Eat the 80 and you'll see. I'm going to look at Eat the 80 right now while I talk to you because I went to it last week to order some more. I love Eat the 80. It is the best home delivery, like prepared meals. They are, I don't know how much to tell you. They are gluten-free. They are low in sugar. You can get them vegan. You can get them paleo. You can get them portion controlled. They're prepared by a chef. They are, most importantly, absolutely delicious. The protein's ethically sourced. There's always a good amount of protein. I just chow these things down. 2.5 minutes in the microwave. That's all it takes. And you get the freshest, most balanced, just farm to table, preservative. I want every meal to come from Eat the 80. I wish I could have every single meal. They've got gift cards. They've got, let me talk to you about their menu just for a little bit. Let's go down some of these. Oh, new breakfast special. I haven't seen this one. Just looks like bacon and eggs and potatoes, but whip that up in a couple minutes. Portuguese style chicken, Caribbean chicken, garlic lemon shrimp saute with zucchini noodles. I am not lying to you when I say I have not had a bad one yet. Like there's things like that looks like something I wouldn't eat. Well, actually I can't eat shrimp because I'm allergic, so I wouldn't eat that one. But let's take something that I wouldn't eat. For example, spaghetti, squash, and meatballs. I might not eat that one, but I have, and it's delicious. So many. Traditional beef stew. I get that one a lot. The All-American, which is like a burger and fries. Braised mushroom chicken with Hungarian potatoes. Just all delicious and the most simple ingredients. Homestyle pot roast. Guys, you have to try this. And if you're a gym owner, oh my God, they have the best affiliate program in the world. You want to get your members eating this. Get them on it because then you can oversee their nutrition. Then they're going to see progress for sure because we all know how important nutrition is. Look, the gym's important. Rob Wolf always says diet or exercise is important. Diet is crucial. Get on your diet. Get on your client's diet. And here's what's going to happen. Eat the 80 is going to hook you up. They've got this great affiliate program. You're going to get $1.40 in meal credit for every meal someone else orders. Okay, so like 10 people order a box of meals, you're going to get a free box yourself of meals, not one meal, meals. So look, these guys over there at Eat the 80, they support us. They want to take care of you. Whatever they're doing is amazing. I think these guys have been around a while. I think they're going to stick around. It's a tough business, but these guys are really going to make it because they're doing the right thing. And here's how you do it. If you're a coach or a gym owner and you want to get your clients, any kind of trainer, you want to get your clients to eating these, send them an email at info@eatthE80.com to get your own affiliate code. They'll send you business cards so you can hand them out to your clients. info@eatthE80.com, and that's EATTHE80.com, or just go to eatthE80.com to order some yourself. But like I said, if you're a gym owner, get on board with this, or a trainer, get on board with this affiliate program. It's great. EatThE80.com. I'm not steering you wrong. You were saying?
I was saying, with that in mind, I'm also interested to see Brooke Wells, right? Because Brooke has been with Ben for so long, but Ben's like
who's Brooke training under?
Dude, she's training with Tia and Shane.
Oh.
So she's training under Shane, who's like clearly the best CrossFit coach in the space. Like there's no doubt about it.
Such a female thing to do, where like Tia would be like, yeah, come down and hang out and let's work out. Where like if the best male CrossFitter and his like one of his contenders can, hey dude, can I come? No, you can't.
Well, I mean, that's exactly
what happened with Fraser.
Rich.
Yeah, and Frony. It's men have that just such women are like, we'll all shine together.
I mean, listen, I could have told you that the Matt and Rich thing wasn't going to work out. Are you kidding me? Like they would literally, neither of them would get better, and they would both just bury each other every single day that they showed up at the gym. One of them would beat them with this thing, and then they would next show up the next
Yeah,
thing, and get crushed at the next thing.
There's I think it was Ryan Flaherty from Nike was telling me that one of the common denominators of all these great athletes is and he works with the greatest athletes in the world, is that they all seem to have an enemy. And it's somewhat like Michael Jordan would create enemies. When he would go to a game, there was a guy on the team that he just would want to beat so badly, and they kind of invent it, and it motivates them and drives them. So I'm sure, even though these two weren't competing against each other, they're competing to be the greatest CrossFitter of all time. And so unbelievable that when everybody's like, oh my God, there's they don't like, yeah. And why you would go try to train together. If you're from two different disciplines, I get it. Or if you're in a creative type of sport, like something like an action sports where you're developing, you're like, hey, I'm trying this, and look, you can do, but this is just all data driven, and there's no creativity to CrossFit. It's the least creative sport in the world. It all comes down to, you're moving numbers. So I didn't think that. I wanted so badly, and I bugged everybody in the CrossFit world, and even contemplated putting it together myself, but a pay-per-view, $1 million Froning versus Fraser. And I thought, everybody in the whole CrossFit world would pay to watch this. But I realized we live in this fucked up world that, you watch the Jake Paul thing, and it's people would rather watch the two of them fist fight.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That whole thing, like we're getting some of that showing up. Like, Jacob Hepner and Josh Bridges are doing a boxing match.
There's word on the street. Eddie. There's word on the street about that fight that Hunter was kept out of that because Hunter wanted to fight in that, and someone didn't want Hunter in it, and because that's who I'll tell you off air, but Hunter really, that's his life, being a media spectacle and trying to stir it up. So he was like, please let me fight someone. And apparently they were like, you're persona non gratis. And Hunter was like, I'll fight anyone. Like, you name it, I'll fight them. And they were like, nope. And I thought that was pretty stupid on their part because he's pretty good at attracting that kind of attention.
He's great at attracting attention.
But that'll be fun to watch them fight. I'd still rather watch. Come on, you wouldn't like to watch Matt and Rich fight?
No. Why would I want to see them fight? Neither of them would be good at boxing.
It'd be fun.
Like, what's the point?
It'd be fun.
It's like, and it's a different type of condiing. As good a shape as they're in, they're both going to end up being gassed by keeping their hands up.
It'd be funny.
For 12 rounds.
That's what. You remember Tony Jeffries that we had on the show a bunch of times?
Oh yeah, I love that guy.
Tony was saying he was giving Jake Paul a lot of credit and saying, "Look, he is the most famous boxer in the world right now." And I was like, so then I messaged a friend of mine who's in the boxing world, and I said, "How good is he?" And he said, "He's awful." He said he couldn't beat a club boxer. He said there's guys that train, like regularly that just like guys that nobody knows who they would kill him. Many, tons of them. And he goes, they'd just find his weakness and wait for him to open up and just take him out. But instead, this guy has figured out that we live in this fucked up culture that is like, we'd rather watch these. That's why I'm telling you, I would like to see them compete in CrossFit against each other, like a $1 million purse kind of like pay-per-view event. However, I think a fight would be more successful, more of a media spectacle. That's the point I'm making. Like, I think people would go
fist fight.
I watched the Jake Paul fight. It was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. I was so bored. I was in Pittsburgh. My brother-in-law, I was like, let's get it. And we got it. And I've never wasted more money in my life. And the best line, Pete Davidson was commentating. And as they were coming down and they were ringing the bell, Pete Davidson goes, "America, you're all about to get a lot dumber."
He's right. He's fucking right, dude.
And it was just
that boxing match was so stupid.
It was the
so dumb.
dumbest thing ever. A train wreck. And yet it probably made everybody a multimillionaire. So,
yeah.
Look, I'm just saying. Who do you think would win, Fraser Froning?
In what, boxing or CrossFit?
Boxing.
I don't know. They're both so competitive. Fraser has like this like Wolverine-esque like competitive anger inside of him that I think would be really difficult to overcome.
But Froning has incredible athleticism.
It's true. And Froning has much better reach.
Oh, does he?
I mean, he's not that much taller, but he's a little bit taller.
Okay, see, look, it's brewing.
No, man, it's not brewing. This is the most boring what if I've ever heard in my entire life.
Froning versus Fraser in CrossFit.
Now or like when? When?
Right now.
Like if they have time to like compete and train for it?
It's hard to say because Fraser has stopped competitively training and Froning still is. So he's going to have the advantage. But let's go back 6 months.
Yeah, I would put that for Fraser for sure.
There's
no doubt in my mind.
No doubt.
What's that?
No doubt?
No doubt in my mind. No. And it's not like I don't think it would be like a clean sweep. But
let me just put this out there.
Can't lift heavy anymore.
But how about this? Who does better in the Open every year?
Fraser.
Does he?
He wins the Open accidentally every year. Basically.
Does he really?
Yeah, pretty much.
I think he did.
He didn't win it the past couple of years, but he was always like, listen, they both do really well in the Open, but also Fraser's Open performances are really weird. Like you can't really look at his Open performances as like a measurement of his fitness, because generally speaking, at least up until a couple of years ago, he would not work out until like the week of the Open after the games. So like he would take like all of August, all of September, all of October, all of November, all of December, and then just finally start doing some lifting and movement. And like, he would basically say that he wouldn't work out until the week, like the first time he would do a CrossFit workout since the CrossFit Games would be the Open workout. The first
really?
Workout. Yeah.
So he has an off season.
He has a huge off season. He takes like 4 to 6 weeks, and he gains like a bunch of weight. He puts on a bunch of weight because he eats whatever he wants and like doesn't work out, doesn't go to the gym, doesn't stretch, doesn't do anything.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, he comes back and he slowly eases himself back in with like, some lifting, some intervals, some conditioning.
That's smart. So he repairs his body.
Stuff.
That's like an NFL player. Those guys have to do that. But they do a lot of their training off season because they can't train during the season. So they do all their weight training and stuff off season, because during the season the weight training is like a joke because they're beat up so bad. Okay, so next year, who wins the CrossFit Games? There's a wild card.
Who's the wild card?
Ricky Gerard.
Ooh, I will say that Ricky will not win the CrossFit Games. That's what I'll say. I'll say Ricky isn't going to win the CrossFit Games. I'd say there's more of a chance that Ricky pops again than there is on him winning the CrossFit Games.
Ooh. If Ricky wins, how much controversy is that going to create?
A lot. It would be really good for the sport. I'll tell you that. It would be really good for the sport.
Well, it's funny.
The sport needs it.
We've always said
now it's just dying.
We have always said, and I think I might have asked Castro this, if they ever program, or Castro said, I don't, and people think I do. I think he said this about people saying, you can program, towards some people's strengths or weaknesses or whatever. And it would be like, Ricky's coming in. Here's a guy who's popped before for PEDs, and winning it could be bad for the sport in that people go, oh, well, it creates a controversy of, well, he developed himself on steroids. Now he's off them, supposedly, and he wins, but he still created all that muscle mass and all those gains on it. So is that fair? So it's going to create this huge controversy. So, could Castro program away from Ricky to not have to deal with that.
Listen, Castro is good at his job, but he's not that good at his job.
I think you could program or you could easily.
There's no way that Dave Castro is going to be able to surgically program the games in a way that negatively affects just one athlete without negatively affecting a bunch of other athletes.
I think Dave is weirdly. I'm on the Dave bandwagon. I love Dave now, but I think, and I don't think Dave would do that because I just don't think he that's like. That's
I'll tell you exactly why.
But what I'm telling you, when they don't announce a workout till like the day before, blah, blah, blah. Very easy to go, hey, Fikowski's in first place. We don't want Fikowski in first. We're going to do something like pull-ups and handstand push-ups. It's very easy to do. Very easy.
The week of the games, I would say it's unlikely to happen in person at the games, but online for the open, for sure they could do stuff like that. The reason why Dave would never do that, and I'm going to be very, very honest here. The reason why Dave would never do that is because to him, it would take away from the integrity of the CrossFit Games, which to him is like his entire existence.
Sure. And I agree with you.
His ego is one-to-one wrapped up with the existence of the CrossFit Games, and anything that takes away from that would take away from him, and he would never abide by that.
Right. I agree with that. But I'm saying if you wanted to, it wouldn't be that difficult to...
I don't know. Maybe. But it's like, what do you program to like, listen, Ricky's good at CrossFit. It's like, what do you program that's going to keep him off the podium? Not going to also fuck up everybody else.
You just look at what his weakness, there's something, everybody's got a weakness, and except for Fraser.
Probably.
And you just look at what it is and you go, oh, okay, he's in the lead. We got to bounce him off that.
I don't know. I am not on the Dave Castro bandwagon, and I don't care about Ricky. I think it's really, really stupid that Ben popped positive for the exact same stuff that Ricky popped for like a year after him. Like it's just the dumbest possible thing that could happen. Like it's just so stupid that happened. And I think to myself, like, all right, if that's what we're dealing with here, what are the chances this guy like either stays clean or wins the CrossFit Games? And both those things are just
do you know why? Do you know why they pop? I've learned from talking to a couple of people that have popped. We think about this more than they do.
Of course.
They don't give a shit. They don't even think about it. When you ask them about it, they're like, yeah, I just didn't think that I was like, I was doing it.
Once you make the decision, right? You make the decision, you justify it, you figure out what you're doing, and then you just like move on with the rest of your shit. You don't like live under that stress for your entire life.
No, but not just that. They don't really even go about trying to cover it up. They're just like, if they get me, they get me. And you're like, okay. Because I think we overanalyze it, and we think it's, because you do. Usually the people that aren't that good are the ones that work so hard. The ones that are so good don't even look at it as though I'm working my whole life to it. They're just like, it's what I do. Like I just like to work out a lot. I love it. Everything I've read about sports and kids, it's like if you can be like one of those trophy parents and trying to make your kid into a great athlete, but it's like the kid just has to love the sport. And if the kid loves the sport, you can encourage them, and that's it. You can't force them and take them to 17 different teams and this and that. It's not going to happen. It's just got to be
there has to be some level of internal motivation for it to actually stick.
Yeah.
You can drag it along for, a couple of years, maybe like 4 years, maybe through like high school or something. But the moment there's any sort of freedom, a kid who's been dragged along to like this participation is not going to keep doing it.
No, or they end up like Andre Agassi and they're like, addicted to every drug because you've fucking beaten them over the head with a tennis racket every day. So you think, I can't believe you think Fikowski. That's just because you love him.
I do like him a lot. I do like him.
I like him too. I just don't. I think he's. I think he's kind of missed his window. I also think it's a young man's sport.
I don't think he's that old. Here's the thing, man. It's like
I'm saying like 22-year-old.
If the workouts are being programmed like fucking Mary, which is like the stupidest workout you could possibly do at the CrossFit Games, then yeah, Fikowski's never going to win it. No one over 5'8" is ever going to win the CrossFit Games. If those are the types of workouts where it's 600 reps and it's like you're going to be just standing still and just trying to bounce off your kneecaps as many times as possible in 20 minutes. Yeah, the people who are really short
that is the sport now, though. That is
but
it.
Like, look at what the events were before. It's like Fikowski had like a top 3 snatch in the sport. He had like the best endurance engine. He was the best swimmer. He was the best runner.
Are you two
dating?
dating?
Best at chippers. What's that?
Are you two dating?
Yeah, I actually have something to say.
Wow.
Brent is behind this fake wall.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm just saying, like, if you look at what that's the thing. Another question, by the way, to ask is like, what the fuck happened? How come Brent goes from being in like, you know, podium contention to the mid-20s? Is he really that much? Did he lose that much fitness? Did everyone else gain that much fitness? No, the programming changed. Instead of doing like game style workouts, they did fucking Mary.
Well, they also had their hands tied this last year. You know, with COVID, there was a little bit of some restrictions. Even though they did have a swimming event. It's funny. I said to Samuel Quant, because I interviewed him a few weeks before the games, and he was out swimming right before he got on the show. He's like, sorry I was late. I had swim practice. And I go, oh yeah, because they're going to have a big pool at the ranch. And then he goes on to win the swimming event, which I've had this argument with a couple people. He and Tia were the only two to do bilateral breathing in that event.
Really? I
Yes.
didn't know that.
Yeah, the only two I saw do it. And they both won it. So CrossFitters, practice your bilateral breathing. And the reason I think what it did was it allowed them, like the stimulus, like it changed everything for them, their breathing pattern, that made it when they would get out of the pool. What was it? It was swim, and then you did some kind of weightlifting.
It was like swimming and
like thrusters or something.
The swimming was in the middle. It was like slam ball, GHD, swim, assault bike, and then the other way back: assault bike, swim, GHD, slam ball.
Whatever it did, I think it allowed them to get either didn't need as much oxygen. You know, when you're breathing every breath, you're basically just oxygenating your whole body, or you know, it relaxed them or something they did. But I was like, wow, that shows, you know, that swimming's still a bit of a weakness to people. You know, I still think running and swimming, I mean, Fraser, I've never seen anybody tackle running like Fraser. It's ridiculous. Like a guy his size to accomplish what he did and become such a good runner with his frame, with his size. That's a guy who looked at it as like, this is a weakness. I'm going to become a good runner, and Hinshaw made him a good runner. I think CrossFitters, if they want to win, have to do that with swimming. And Tia's a great swimmer.
Yeah, she's incredible.
Yeah, and they all have to do that, and they don't, because it's going to be in there. It's always going to be in there. And if, you know, you can't have a weakness anymore. So
yeah, long gone are the days where you could have like an out of the top 10 finish. It just doesn't exist.
Who's the number 2 girl?
I think it depends. If Annie can recover from birth, like, she could definitely podium again this year.
You have these weird picks.
I mean, dude, she was on the podium right before she gave birth.
What year?
So it's not like she's.
Wait, what year?
I want to say she was out in the 2020 season, and I think 2019 she was on the podium, if I don't remember correctly.
That'd be pretty amazing if she does. I would not. I would.
18, 19, she was still competing for a podium spot. She's still one of the best in the world, and she's only like 30. You know what I mean? So like, what? It's not like she's completely aged out of the sport.
I think Amanda.
You think so?
Yep.
You think we've like broken the curse to the point where an American can actually fight for second place? Fight
Yeah,
for
I
the
know.
title?
I think she though has left and she's up there working out in Boston too.
Is she really?
I think so. Yeah,
That makes sense.
a buddy of mine used to be her coach, and he sold his gym and kind of got out of the business, and she's gone, I think.
You know who I would like to see succeed on the men's side is Chandler Smith. Now that we're talking about people up in Boston,
Ooh, yeah.
I would love to see Chandler Smith succeed. I think he has a couple of holes in his game that he needs to shore up before he can actually get out there, but he is obnoxiously fit.
Yeah.
And he would be a great brand ambassador.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he would be such a good like face for CrossFit as a professional sport.
Yeah.
So I would actually really enjoy seeing that.
Yeah, he's a nice dude too.
And he was right outside of the top 5 qualifying.
Noah's pretty hungry. Noah's pretty hungry.
It's true. He is happy but hungry. That is true. I love the guy.
Yeah.
You know,
Noah's pretty.
I don't know.
I think you've got Vellner.
Yeah.
Vellner, Noah, and I'm going to go. My 3 picks are Noah, Vellner, and Quant.
Wow.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah. One time, Sean Sweeney said to me that CrossFit's such an incremental game that you kind of know how you're going to do. Like, you know where you are and you know how you're getting back. It's not like I was snatching 330. Now I'm snatching 380. You know, it's like you know it's going to go up or down like 5 or 10 pounds. It's not going to.
Right.
It's not going to skyrocket. So all these different things, your times are all pretty much at a met. So you can kind of formulate or really. Somebody just did something for morning chalk up. Did some kind of statistical analysis, and I didn't read it because I don't pay for it. And but you know, sometimes those statistical analyses are pretty good because CrossFit is so data driven.
Which one did they do? Do you remember which one it was?
It was like yesterday, I think, where they were predicting who was going to win the games.
Oh, they're looking at like how competitive the top 10 was. That one?
Yeah, I think so. Do you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I read that article. Once I read the title had to do with like, is this the most competitive men's field? And the first thing that came to mind was that 2014 was by far the most competitive men's podium. Like the top 10 of the 2014 CrossFit Games, it was probably the closest podium that we've ever had. It was probably the most successful and highest amount of talent on the podium possible. And it was like when they did their data, that's the one that like stuck out the most for across all the years.
And who were the podium guys that year?
The winner was Rich. Second place was Matt, and then I want to say third place. Let's see if I remember correctly here. I want to say it was Ben that was on the podium in third place, but Jason Kalipa was on the podium in third place on the men's side. And it's like you're talking about the 2 greatest to ever do it podium that year and a former champion podium that year. And the rest of the top 10 were a bunch of people who were like really, really close to fighting for those podium spots. Like it wasn't a big spread. So there's just like, yeah, man. I mean, that year was very, very competitive. Like this year, it by definition is going to be more competitive because Matt's not there to just be like this black hole of points because he doesn't work as like a gravity sink for all these different points of events. There's going to be a lot bigger amount of points available to everybody else. And since no one else is as consistent as he is, it's by definition going to be a much more competitive year because there's going to be a lot more jockeying.
Right. Are you going to the games this year?
No.
The baby. Yeah. You'll be.
But it's okay. I'll be sitting right here, like probably this exact same view. I'm going to have a baby strapped to my chest, and I'm going to do live watch along throughout the entire
You won't have that baby on your chest if you have a snoo. that baby will be.
That might be within my first 3-week trial period of a normal bassinet, though.
So we've got our. Did you give a pick? Who you said?
On the men's side?
Well, you said Fikowski and
No, I'd say the three. My three are like BKG,
Oh,
Melner,
yeah.
and Fikowski.
yeah, BKG. You can't count out. I would
I would say BKG has a good shot of winning the CrossFit.
Yeah, I would too. I agree. I'd like to put him in as one of mine too.
And he's so ridiculously fit, and he's getting stronger every year.
Yeah.
Like it's just a matter of time. As it seems like he's having a good time. So.
Well, thanks for doing the show. Good luck. If I don't see you before the birth,
Thanks, bro.
you're gonna need it.
I appreciate that. I will need it.
Tell Katie I wish her all the best, and I'm sure you guys will get through this however weird hippie way you do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I said I messaged Scott once. We got to do a reunion episode. Scott's like, "Let's do it in person." I'm like, "Nah, I'd rather do it on Zoom." He like wants to get together. I'm like, I don't want to get together. I love COVID. I love not seeing people and just
I don't
sitting.
want to leave the mountains.
Never. I leave to go surf and come right back. That's it.
Sure.
But yeah. So and you've still got the YouTube thing going on.
ArmenHammerTV.
ArmenHammerTV. Yeah, that's the place to go. You are the like knowledgeable. Like you have become the like go-to guy. If you want to know what's going on in CrossFit, Armen knows.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it is true.
Because there isn't. It used to be all the people were connected to CrossFit and they've all been excommunicated. So now you are the in the know. Have you been to Colorado yet?
No, I haven't been out there. I haven't been out to the new HQ.
I am. I'm setting up right now to interview with Rosa. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it Zoom though.
Yeah, why not? Why would you go?
No, God, no.
What's the point?
No need. I feel close. I feel close to you right now, Armen.
How did you set up your interview through him? Did you talk to like Weinstein? Did you go through?
No, he and I just
CrossFit portal.
It's funny. A bunch of WODcasters hit him up, and then he and I connected on Instagram.
Good.
And
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, and I think it'll be a fun interview. Probably my most coveted interview. There would be only one person that I would like to interview in the CrossFit space than Eric Rosa. One person.
Who?
Fitness Lonnie.
What? No, hold on. No, stop, dude. Stop. No.
I can't get a hold of him. He doesn't have a cell phone.
Of course he doesn't. He's been on a silent retreat for the past 8 years. Oh my God. Oh.
No idea where that guy is. I think he's the one that lit Topanga on fire.
Oh my God. Do you remember when we had him on the show?
And he proposed to Andrea Egger?
He proposed to Andrea Egger. Do you remember what he was like? He was like, you asked him if Lonnie's his real name, and he was like, hey, you have to edit this out, but it's actually a stage name. And he gave us
Oh
God.
That guy.
Lonnie, how did you just pull that out? I haven't thought about him in like 8 years. Like literally since he was on the show, I haven't thought about him.
I don't know. I was joking though. I would rather talk to Greg Glassman than anyone. I would love to
call him.
No, somebody said he would do an interview, but he's probably signed an NDA that he couldn't answer any of the good juicy questions. And so it wouldn't be fun. I'd rather just sit down at a bar and drink with him. And
that you probably would have a great time doing that.
Yeah, I would love to do that. And just an off the record, complete conversation about everything. And then I have a feeling I know what he would say, so maybe it wouldn't be that great. But yeah, so looking forward to Rosa. And I appreciate you taking the time to do this, Armen. And I like the look of your new studio. And congratulations on the baby coming and the move. So hopefully I'll see you
Thank you.
soon.
It's a pleasure when we get to chat, Eddie.
And
I'm glad that we got.
I'm going to stop
this.
recording right now so I can tell you all the shit off the air that I got to tell you.
Yes. Yes. Yes.